Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast.
Start over. Start.
No, keep it. No. You're it. Okay.
Wrong with the theme of the podcast.
Dude,
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Late Nights and Party Chat podcast. Hope you enjoyed that little intro we had that was completely unscripted.
Justice hates us.
He does.
hate's a strong word. More like abhor completely.
I'm sorry, did I say enjoy? I'm absolutely livid.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we're back. We're terrible at this, as we've previously stated. So
No.
that's just the running theme for our life.
We're getting back in the groove.
We are. But yeah, I'm Justin. I'm joined as always by John.
By the time this is over, I am just gonna be a conglomerate singularity of sweat because of the temperature in this office.
Why didn't you take your hoodie off, you fucking psychopath?
That is a lot of work. So I intend to just suffer.
You're just doing it to yourself.
I'm gonna sweat the weight off.
Oh God. And Justice.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am also very hot, but I'm not doing what he's doing.
Smart man. Smart man.
I hate all of you.
It's warm, and I don't own a fan currently.
Buy a fan.
I could realistically just shut the space heater off, but then
You're sitting in your apartment with a hoodie on and a fucking space heater on and complaining about how hot it is.
because it has to be a certain temperature for Bowser. This is all for him. Do it for him.
Oh my God, I hate you so much.
Yeah, I know. Bowser took me away from you. Cry more.
Listen, I'm gonna kill Bowser when I come up. I'm gonna come up to Norfolk specifically to kill your turtle and then leave.
I don't think you understand how fucked up that is, and I don't think we can continue being friends anymore.
No.
You say that a lot and it never happens.
You say a lot of things too that never happen. That's how I know Bowser is safe.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Like that time he said he loved us. Didn't happen.
Like that time that he was going to talk about making plans to come down to Norfolk instead of us having to go to Omaha all the time.
Yeah,
That's
didn't
still in the
happen.
works.
Anyways, what are we doing here today?
So I brought us here today because I wanted to talk about, everyone's favorite topic, our least favorite things.
That's not how the Christmas song goes.
It's not even fucking Thanksgiving. Don't you dare mention Christmas to me.
I've had my playlist prepared for 3 months.
The only thing that I enjoy about it not being Halloween anymore is that Sprite Cranberry is for sale.
That is a good one.
Christ,
I mean, I'm not drinking soda, but I do agree with that.
Christ Spranberry. Let's
I
go.
will murder you.
Bro.
Maestro out here trying to eat my fucking popcorn. But yeah, I've looked up some topics because I kind of forgot we were doing this, and it was like, talk about like your least favorite horror movie or something, and I was like, I don't think half of us watch horror movie, or I don't think what is three-fourths of us, whatever fucking the percentage is. I don't think you two watch horror movies, so
I don't watch them actively, but it also depends on what's going on.
so I figured we could have just an episode where we bash on shit that we don't like.
Easy.
I swear to God, you better not.
It took every fiber of my being. All right, Justin.
You're
what
gonna
is-
get fucking canceled before we even get started.
You guys. I hate you
I don't give a
guys.
fuck. Exactly. So, all right, fine, Justin, Mister Mothman himself. Why don't you tell us about something you hate? Now I want to throw this out there though. Hate is a really strong word. So like, you best be taking this seriously.
So here's a big one, right? Danny always gets on my ass about it, so I've lightened up a bit. But this is a very specific thing because I'm a late night shopper.
Oh, no.
I used to be the guy that was going to Walmart at like 2 a.m. to go do his like full grocery shopping.
You were the crackhead.
Yeah. Before Walmart stopped doing 24 hours. But anyway, I hate when I'm going into Walmart, right? And I'm just, I'm doing my thing, I'm doing my grocery shopping, I'm in the food aisle or whatever, and like I see a group of kids come in and they're like fucking shoving each other and they're knocking shit down and they're being fucking disruptive and they're just kind of being a nuisance in a public space. And like I don't say anything because generally I'm with Danny, and Danny's like, well, they're kids. You need to understand they're kids. You probably acted the same way when you were their age. And I'm like, no, I didn't, but I can understand them being kids and them having fun with their friends. What I don't approve of is like, making a mess in the store or starting shit in the store, starting like big ass arguments in the store.
Yeah.
So just like,
I can understand
it
that.
has happened before. It does rarely happen, but I just don't like it. I
It's
don't
the live
I
fact checking for me.
yeah, the live fact checking from my wife. But yeah, no, I genuinely, it just kind of irks me. It is one of my least favorite things.
No, I can understand that. I had to interact like I feel way more cynical within the last few years of my life because anymore like shit that I like used to just let slide without a second thought. I see now and it just makes me stop for a minute and genuinely consider just start yelling at people. And then I'm like, no, let's not do that.
Well, like, and it's funny you say that because I work security, so we'll have guests come in, and 90% of our guests are fine. They just want to come in, they want to have a good time, and then they want to leave. But there's going to be that 10% that's just being a dick, or they're being disrespectful, or they're intoxicated. And at first, it was, hey, I'm sorry, I want everybody to have a good time, or I'd back down a little bit, or if you didn't have the right stuff, I'd feel bad for not letting you in. Now, no. If you don't have what we need, or if you're acting like a dick or a douche or causing problems, I'm just gonna tell you to fuck off directly.
Right? That's like Karen's. Like working fucking retail has made me gain such hatred for Karens.
Oh my
Just all of us collectively sigh and fucking dismay.
I got called a trained monkey over COVID.
God.
I think you told us this story.
And I have not let that go.
So
Not only did I take that shit personally, I'm taking it to the grave.
I'm gonna be on my deathbed and I'm gonna have kids and they're gonna be like, Father, you can't go. I'm holding their hands as the widow's crow, just elderly eyes, just fuck that one guy in particular.
called me a trained monkey. Fucking dickhead.
Dies. Oh shit! If that's how I go out, I want that on my headstone. Just fucking dickhead.
In quotes, dies.
But no, listen to this, right? So this happened to me because I work at a smoke shop. This happened to me a couple weeks ago. This lady comes in, right? I was in the bathroom, so I didn't get to see the first part of this interaction, but I heard about it afterwards. So that's how I have this information. This lady comes in and she's asking one of my coworkers if it's possible that they could swap out a battery. And he does his due diligence. He gets on her account. He looks to see when she bought the battery. I'm not fucking kidding you when I say this. She bought it in December of 23. Almost an entire fucking year ago. So like we have a return policy, sort of. But it's like if something is like mechanically wrong or technologically wrong, like a battery dies super quick or like a vape doesn't work. So like we take stuff like that into account when we're doing our returns. But obviously this has been way too long. You're not getting your battery swapped out and getting a free one, which is what she wanted. So then she's like, okay, well, I need to buy a new battery. So we're helping her and we're showing her the batteries and we're like, this is the cheapest battery. And it was like $15. And she's like, okay, I'll buy it. I don't have a lot of money, but I have enough money to buy this. I'll buy this battery. So she buys the battery and then proceeds to tell us about how she lost the cart that she was using for like a couple months. And if her battery's a year old, I'm thinking at least 6 months that this battery has been not in use.
Okay.
So she buys the battery, she puts her cart on the battery, and it doesn't work because it's an old cart and like that's just kind of how it works. If it's super old, the resin's dried up and not dried up, but it's kind of solidified. It's a little hard to move. You have to heat it up a lot to get it to actually work correctly. She didn't do this. She screws it on. She tries to rip it. It doesn't work. So then she's like, well, I want to return this. And I'm like, well, we have a no returns policy. It says that on the bottom of your receipt. And that's when shit started. She was like, I want to speak to your manager. And I was like, ma'am, our manager isn't in today. I can refer you to a store that the manager is in today. I was like, there's nothing we can do. None of us have the authority to do that. And she's like, well, I'm not leaving until I get this figured out. And I was like, well, there's nothing we can do. Like, legitimately, you bought the battery. Your cart is what's wrong. It's not our product. So it's your own fault. And she's like, I'm not satisfied with that. I'm not leaving until I speak to a manager. Can you just call a manager at a different store? And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I was like, you can do that on your own time, or you can drive 5 minutes down the road to go to that store. And like, legitimately, the closest shop is probably about 5 to 10 minutes away, not even. And this lady starts complaining, and she's like, well, I'm not going to drive all that way. That's way longer than 5 minutes. And I was like, ma'am, I live in the area. I know how far or how long it is to get there. I said, it is about a 5-minute drive. And she was like, that's not accurate. I don't believe you. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I drive this big Dodge Ram pickup, and I'm poor and I don't have any money. And I took a risk getting this battery, and just starts spouting a bunch of random bullshit. I'm like, okay, whatever. So we call a manager at a different store, and he says exactly the same thing I did, but he was like, just return it so you can get her out of your store. And I was like, okay. So I returned it, and then she sits there for like another 10 minutes and is looking at other products, talking about how great they are, but then proceeds to keep telling us about how we're shitheads. So yeah, I was just kind of fed up with that. Legit tweaking.
My goodness.
Yeah, lady was fucking psychotic.
Nah, yeah, people will never cease to amaze. Like when it comes to just the level of both idiocy and disrespect that can go into. You can't go into an establishment and make a demand and then go, well, why can't you adhere to my demand? That's not how shit works.
No, and like it's just fucking frustrating. But we've talked enough about my least favorite thing. John, what's your least favorite thing?
My least favorite thing are people who don't know how to take something that they dislike and understand that it's an opinion that shouldn't be applied to absolutely everybody.
Elaborate.
So Dragon Age the Veilguard came out recently.
Okay, this is very targeted. Cool.
No, so like realistically, it's not even just about the game. This is just the most recent example. But like I haven't played the game. I'm debating on picking it up. And like
it looks good. I've heard it's good.
Exactly. Like a lot of the stuff I'm hearing, I understand it has its faults, and I get that. But like it feels like a lot of like the stuff that most of the negative opinions I'm hearing are coming from like people in our friend group, and like that's great. I like opinions. But it's when opinions are stated like they're absolute fact and there's no other possible way it could be anything other than the game is.
I know exactly who you're talking about, and I understand.
Yeah, I get that. That is annoying.
I have a few people in mind, and like it doesn't change anything. Like I'm still their friend. Like I'm not. It's not like I'm mad. I just like.
Well, I think that the issue comes down to not so much the opinion itself, but that they're so adamant to die on a hill that they themselves can't really even back due to lack of knowledge. It's like if I tried to have an argument with Justin about Greek mythology, and I know so little about Greek mythology, I'd be talking complete bullshit and dying on that hill, not knowing a damn thing, while he's knowing things and has the knowledge.
Spider-Man 2099.
No, you know what? He brought it up. I think it's time. We elaborate.
I feel like we've talked about this before.
I'm gonna bring it up again. It's season 2. I don't care. Shut the fuck up. So, Justin and I got into an argument one day that lasted about an hour long, and I'll admit I was incorrect, but at the time of the argument, I was 100% confident that Spider-Man 2099 was... What even was my argument? That it wasn't even Peter?
2099. I just bring it up because, like, so it was the TV show Spider-Man Unlimited, which takes heavy inspiration from the Spider-Man 2099 comic.
Yes.
Justice was saying that the main character of that was not Peter Parker, it was like his grandson. In his head, he had like mixed up the plots for Spider-Man Unlimited and Batman Beyond. because in Batman Beyond, it's Bruce Wayne's like cloned son or whatever, and then like a old gray grizzled Bruce Wayne. They
Pretty
announced
sure it's
in
just a kid.
they announced in the Justice League like cartoon, like that like animated series, they show like I think it was Justice League animated series, but regardless, they actually show that Amanda Waller stole some of Bruce's DNA and they found the most likely pairing of parents that could make a quote unquote better Bruce Wayne. So they took this DNA, they made it into like an injection, and they injected Terry's dad with it. So it kind of like coated his DNA and Bruce's DNA so that when they made a kid, which was Terry, it didn't have any of the biological dad's DNA. It was the mom and it was Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne is Terry's dad in Batman Beyond.
Regardless, I ended up somehow mixing up the plots of that one and Spider-Man Unlimited and was 100% confident that the main character was not Peter Parker, which we had an hour-long debate as well as a Google fucking deep dive. I'm talking one of those Google dives where you actually click on a second page of Google instead of looking at just the first 5 links that pop up. And like, I was wrong. I was blatantly incorrect. But I was arguing and fighting because I was so confident on something I knew so little about.
He got so mad.
I was pissed, dude. I wish we would have recorded that because I genuinely got so much more angry than I had any reason to at all.
Like, and I was just having fun, and he was getting so heated because he was like, "No, I know I'm right. I know I'm right." And I was like, "Bro, you're not right. I used to watch this TV show all the time." And he was like, "So did I. That's how I know." And I literally went to like the Wikipedia page for the show, and it explains like a really rough synopsis of it. And it says Peter Parker travels to the future, and I like screenshotted it and I sent it to him, and he was like, "Nuh-uh."
Your sources are wrong, bro.
Your sources are wrong. But no, and that goes back to what John was on about is when somebody doesn't have the 100% knowledge to back whatever it is they're talking about. Like myself, if I don't know, I'm not just gonna start spouting off details. Especially now.
And it's not so much like, like they're spreading misinformation. It's just, it would do so much if I were to, like, acknowledge, like, hey, I like X for X reason. But there are some scenarios where, like, some people I talk to would just, if I stated that fact, it would just be like, oh, witch hunt, and I am just mistaken. And, like, don't get me wrong, I know I'm easily entertained. I don't take fault with a lot of stuff. But, like, damn, it's amazing how fun things can be when someone's not in your ear telling you how shitty a game is.
Well, and it definitely...
Black Ops Zombies 6 is so shitty, John. Why do you even play it?
I'm not. Ryan's playing it right now.
It's definitely difficult, too, when you have, like, a new game coming out. So, I played some of the older Dragon Ages, and personally, I didn't care for them. And that's just my own thing. I don't think I will play the new one. Not because of the opinions that have been shared of it, but because of how I felt about the previous games. Now, if I were to go into it blind, and I had the people around me saying, oh, it's trash, or oh, it's bad, no, I'm not going to want to play it then. And I could potentially be missing out on maybe a really, really good game.
Yeah. That's not to say that, like, a game in question, like, whatever it's about, it doesn't have to apply specifically to Dragon Age, but, like,
I think the problem is inherently...
Like, the Insomniac Spider-Man games. You're good. Like, the Insomniac Spider-Man games is another one where it's like, our immediate friend group doesn't necessarily say anything bad about it, but I see a lot of trash about it, like, on the internet and stuff, and I just kind of stop and I'm like, it's fine so long as it's an understanding that, like, that is ultimately an opinion, not, yeah, they're a press square simulator, but they're great games.
Well, like, if you're gonna have an opinion about a game, a movie, a show, whatever, if you're gonna have an opinion, that is fine. The problem is when you have an opinion that is unfounded or just somebody else's opinion. So I'm not gonna talk about Marvel Spider-Man having not played Marvel Spider-Man. Now, if I start talking shit about it and all of my knowledge is coming from YouTubers or people online or people I talk about, then I can't even my own opinion is completely invalid.
Well, and I think inherently the problem is that people do definitely like to act like what they have to say is the truth. Like it's fact. And it's not even just video games, it's like anything. A lot of people are just so against being wrong or their opinion not being like the truth or whatever that they just like freak out.
Obviously from the first person. So it makes sense that, your opinion is important to you and maybe your opinion is important to your friends and family. But the truth of the matter is you have maybe 5 to 20 people in your day-to-day life that actually matter to you and value your opinion out of the 7 almost 8 billion people on this planet. There is nothing you are going to say or do that will impact the entire world. So people need to not act like it will.
Right. I'm ordering pizza. I'm hungry.
He's mid podcast and he's ordering food. What an unprofessional
We were
Fuck
shit.
yeah.
mid walk, and Ben was like, "All right, I got McDonald's. We have to go this way."
What the fuck?
And then we were walking
You just-
back, and then Sam was like, "Hey, we got to go to Casey's." So we went to Casey's.
Why don't you just kill them?
Honestly, just murder.
Because I kind of like them.
No.
You know, we're sort of friends and stuff. I need Sam
Nah.
to run D&D campaigns for me, so.
Your D&D campaigns were supposed to be a part of it.
Why can't you run your own D&D campaigns, goddammit? Okay. Silence is deafening.
Did you not hear the audible sigh noise that I made? Sorry, let me try.
Oh, what the fuck?
I heard what sounded like a bird.
I can't deliver my free pizza.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Damn.
That's wild. Anyway,
Hey, Justice.
I'm gonna
What's
keep
up, man?
I'm gonna keep ordering this in a minute.
What
Anyway,
What do you
Go-
not like?
yeah, just
I appreciate you use the term not like, because I do think hate is a very strong word, but I want to emphasize pretty important. What I'm about to say, I am a complete hypocrite for, like 100%. I hate being interrupted when I am talking more than anything
So,
in the
Justin.
entire world. So now, obviously, I can understand what it's a joke, but like there are certain people, especially like at my job or various other aspects of my life, that literally they make it there. They don't know how to shut the fuck up and realize, hey, it's not your turn to speak. And I do it too. I'll interrupt people, but I'm capable of going, oh, hey, sorry, I totally didn't mean to interrupt you, and I'll let them finish, or they'll go, no, you're good. But there are some people who acknowledge they interrupted you and just continue yapping. That is the ultimate level of disrespect. And I hate that shit so much. Like, if you know you interrupted someone, just go, hey, my bad. Go ahead. Or, hey, my bad. I really need to get this out before I forget it. Instead of looking the person you just interrupted dead in the eyes and continuing to run your mouth.
Bruce.
Right.
Silence.
In a situation like this where we are having like a legitimate discussion and it's not necessarily planned lines, an interruption is normal. That makes sense. That's not the problem. My problem is like people who like constantly know they're doing it and just keep freaking doing it. Yes, like sorry, he ain't gonna read this or listen to this shit. I don't know why. I apologize, but no, like if you know someone is talking or is trying to tell a story or is trying to get a point across or something, and you're just like, okay, this sounds like a really good time for me to cut in with my own story or my own little nitpick on that. No, don't do that.
Yeah,
the
so like
guy
this
finish
one
his
time,
story. All right, and like, so if your name is John, I hate you.
as you should.
But no,
You want to know
yeah.
something else I don't like?
What's that?
I don't like crackheads.
So you guys want to know something I don't like?
No, so this is also a very targeted thing. We sell, if people don't know what they are, they're called, yes, they're called oil burners. And the use of an oil burner is to burn like essential oils or like THC concentrates, stuff like that. But unfortunately, that is not the common use, and I won't go into much more than that. And the people that come into the store asking for these are like some of the most sketchy
know.
people. They're some of the most sketchy people that I've ever seen in my life. Like they are missing all their teeth and they look like they're fucking 90 years old, but they're actually like 40. And they sit there and they're so shifty and like, they're looking around and they act so nervous. And like they'll come up and they'll be like, "You guys got oil burn?" And like they're so fucking quiet. And it's like they don't want people to know what they're doing. But at the same time, it's like, we all know what you're doing.
Yeah, you're not fooling no one.
Right. And it's like every time they come in, it's like just it reminds me like that's something we learned in training was like don't judge people that come in asking for these because there are some people that use them for the correct intended purpose. And they'll look like upstanding people. And so it's like, yeah, don't judge them for when they come in. Don't judge anybody when they come in, which is good advice, good training. But the people that come in and ask for oil burners, at least at my store, all fit the criteria for a crackhead. And yeah, it's
I like
just
so. Go ahead. Sorry.
it's frustrating.
I definitely can relate. I mean, especially working at a casino, you're gonna have people that come in and they just want to have a good time, and then you're gonna have the people that come in and they're already tweaking, like they're on something, and they're acting a fool before they even get through the fucking door. And
right,
right out the gate, you're gonna have to end up dealing with that person potentially either right then or in a little bit because of how they're acting or the things they're saying or doing. And I don't know what drives a person to, sling some drugs or pound fucking 5, 6 shots of whatever they're drinking and then go, hey, let's go to the casino. Because, like, that's a terrible idea.
truthfully really is.
We're just gonna kick you out or potentially call the cops on you. Save us the time. Go home.
Just leave us alone.
Leave us alone. Stop
away.
coming in. Place your sports bets on your phone and fuck off.
Nah, but yeah, that's something I don't like.
Particularly enjoy uncooked spaghetti.
Dog, I eat that shit normally.
Man, I hate you.
Like, unironically, like, I don't do it regularly, but like if I'm making spaghetti, I'll grab one of the little noodle things and just eat it.
You are wild. You are a wild person and you deserve to be mistreated.
I know.
Bro's out here like, I eat raw spaghetti, uncooked.
Now, you know what? Okay, hold up. All right. This one is very, like, kind of retarded. I shouldn't say that word, sorry.
Damn, bro.
It's better than what I said earlier.
It really is.
I don't like roundabouts. Like,
What the
whole.
fuck?
I don't like roundabouts. Like, as a whole. I think the whole concept of them, while I get it, is very dumb. I think they're annoying.
But it's
What
the flow of traffic.
No, like, I get it. I understand what their purpose is. I just find them annoying and very clogging, and I've seen more accidents on roundabouts than I have seen, like, on highways.
You know
Well,
what?
it's because people on roundabouts are just fucking dumb. Everybody thinks they have the right of way on a roundabout when they don't.
That's my point. If you're gonna have something put into place like that, it needs to be like people.
The roundabout in Norfolk over by fucking the internet place.
Yes, but like people are dumb, man. If we have a hard enough time driving in a straight fucking line, what do you think is gonna happen when you make that shit a circle? Like, as soon as you complicate anything, we manage to somehow fuck it up, like, big time. and I don't know how, I don't know why, but like, if you can't already drive in a straight line, if you enter a roundabout, I want you to crash.
That's really fucked up, bro.
I don't care.
Actively wishing death on people.
I didn't say death. I just want you to crash, and I want you to be like, yeah, no, I need my license revoked. I can't do this shit.
No,
normally."
dude, I don't know if I said about anything about this on the podcast. Did I say anything about what happened to the store next to mine?
I
Don't remember.
So here's something that irritates me. I think it's not even something that irritates me. It's something I think should be enacted as just kind of a safety net. I think once you hit like 60 years old, you should have to retake your driver's test like every 5 years or something. Because I was at work. It was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. My wife's there, my other coworkers are there. We're sitting, shooting the shit, whatever. And suddenly I start seeing shit fall off the wall, and it sounds like someone's banging on the wall behind me. And then it sounds like a fucking earthquake. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I run outside, I go look. Me and my wife and my coworkers are running behind me, and a car had driven into the building. The building next the salon that was next to my smoke shop. And come to find out, it was two 80-year-old ladies and a 90-year-old lady. And I don't exactly remember who was driving, but they were driving a nicer, like newer car. And their whole reasoning for why they crashed was they tried hitting the brake and it wasn't working. And they were also going on this tangent about how this car had like recalls and shit, which if it did, that's fine. That's valid. I understand. But what I think happened is that they got their gas and their brake mixed up because they were going through that parking lot at like 40, at least 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, that sounds
And
about right.
not only were they flying through this fucking small ass parking lot, they also swerved into the building. So like that's not a my brake didn't work. That's a you consciously made a decision to swerve.
He had said if you're above the age of 60, you should take a driving test. Personally, if you're above the age of 60, we should just break your steps.
Bro.
Just cut the problem out from the stem.
Car accidents, breaking kneecap. Justice, are you doing okay?
Are you okay?
All right, so let's talk about something else I hate.
God.
No.
No, I shouldn't say hate. Women are confusing, and they make me angry.
Do
Okay.
you want to talk about it?
No, I'm chilling, to be honest. No, okay, so as previously mentioned in our last episodes, I have recently gone through a separation. And that's not something any person, just easily moves past. So I've made a lot of significant adjustments into my day-to-day life. And yeah, man, I'm doing all right. Any of the jokes I say here, please do understand I don't mean seriously. I don't want anybody to ever get hurt in a roundabout, and I don't want to break most old people's kneecaps. Some of them have it coming, but
Like your dad
like my dad, but he's only 43.
fooled me. No, yeah, and then he thinks he can call me at fucking 11 o'clock in the morning when I'm trying to sleep on my day off.
Bro, it was my day off. I've been awake since 3 o'clock yesterday. I've been awake for over 24 hours.
You need to get some sleep, dude.
I'm in the middle of a podcast, bro.
John, what are we looking at for time? Gonna send-
37
gonna s-
minutes.
God damn it.
This has been the most awkward, out of place, fucking jank episode.
In all fairness,
And I'm
we
honest.
didn't find out what we were talking about
No.
until 3 minutes into the episode.
My man
Yes.
Justin Googled the words things to talk about, not knowing a damn thing about what we were gonna say. We were just spouting shit. What do you hate?
I'm leaving the podcast forever. Bye.
Finally, now we can have some coherent hosts. Jesus Christ.
All right. Well, okay, here's something we could talk about. What do we think of the current climate of gaming?
Me first,
Go.
I have been extremely let down by most games that have come out in the past 10 years. Now that's not to say all of them. There's a couple I'm biased, like with the Final Fantasies or the God of Wars, but a lot of the other like big games are either copy and paste games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, or they don't live up to it. Now there's a couple diamonds in the rough like Baldur's Gate, but I mean even some of the big huge titles that we're excited for, like take Sparking Zero. I love the game and it's still thoroughly enjoyable, but there are parts of it I'm sitting there acknowledging simply aren't great for a casual experience.
Like the menu.
Like, well, the menu for one. Well, I think it looks visually appealing. It is still kind of tedious to navigate. And the combat system, if you don't entirely know how to do certain things, you're just gonna get whipped every time, even if you're fighting a quote unquote weaker character. So I want to say if games are taken seriously and the time is put into them, like Square Enix, for example, they put time into their games, they're good. But if a game is announced and then rushed, it's not good. And unfortunately, that's what's happened a lot more over the past few years.
Well, I think that an inherent problem that's popped up with a lot of games is like I like to call it the cyberpunk effect. I love Cyberpunk, by the way. Like I genuinely do like the game. I enjoy pretty much everything about the game. I've played the game since day one.
That
Yeah,
being
so
said, the game
close.
sucks.
The problem is that I can understand and accept that Cyberpunk on release was a buggy piece of shit. It has gotten significantly better, but it was a buggy piece of shit for like the first, let's be generous and say the first year of its release. Now, seeing the success that not only CD Projekt Red has had, but also that Cyberpunk has had as a franchise, and it all started off of a fuck up, like other game companies see that and see that like we can release a half-finished buggy mess as long as we make it good. As long as we fix it. And then, once we fix it, then we'll get all the stuff that we want.
Well, sometimes that's not even the case. If you take a look at some games like that Ubisoft, for example, has put out, I know we love to bash on it, but it is a great example. You look at For Honor. There is no other game on the market right now that plays like For Honor. The game is flawed, has lots of problems, and is just generally unbalanced. But it has a concurrent player base, and it makes the money it makes because there's just nothing else like it. And it's been a mess since it released. And it will continue to be a mess because they're significantly more concerned about other titles like the next Assassin's Creed or the next Tom Clancy game, which is fine. Those are their moneymaker. But when you have a game that has a really unique combat style or gameplay style, or has a really important IP, you should want to take care of that game and make it better instead of releasing a mess out the gate, attempting to fix it while it rolls and burns downhill, and then just letting it stagnate.
Well, that's the problem with For Honor is that it's been stagnating for such a long time that literally, I've said it before, I'll say it again, until the game dies, because they won't do it. It needs a sequel.
I agree. I think in the case of that one, there's a lot of things that could be done with the sequel. Adding potentially small magical elements or completely reworking and overhauling the entire system. Whole. There are significant changes that could be done that could potentially benefit it or potentially harm it. But the problem is they're not going to because they want to, put money in what they think is their big IPs. Those big IPs, I mean, look at what it's called, Assassin's Creed Shadows, right?
Yeah, the new one.
Look at Shadows. I mean, that game isn't out, and people are freaking out about stuff they know so little about, and that sucks because when the game comes out and now it already has the shitty review, shitty opinions like John was talking about earlier, and it's a mess because it was rushed. what was the point of making the game then?
Well, I don't think
But-
Shadows is rushed. I think Shadows, they've been taking the time to actually make the game. The problem is that people are bitching about dumb shit like race and gender instead of like, and not to say that those are dumb topics. Those topics should be talked about. But in regards to a fictional video game in a fictional setting, well, not fictional, but like exaggerated setting, because I know it's feudal Japan. So, like, that is a real place, a real time period. But being upset about factually, historically accurate people like Yasuke, who was a black samurai, and being upset that the other main protagonist is a woman is just like incel behavior.
I mean, look at like Valhalla even. When Valhalla came out, it had its hype, but the game came out honestly kind of a mess. And it's still a bit of a buggy mess sometimes.
I'm still
Like,
upset that we can't like have each other's like you know, like how you made the like this little secondary character
yeah,
that
you
would like
can't have your friend's
yeah,
character. It's
go
a
and
bummer.
you have to like sit there and spam it forever to hopefully get it on a
Right.
yeah.
And that's just it's small nitpicks like that these games are supposed to be
Or how for like 2 years you couldn't fully max out your fucking settlement because
Right.
there was a bug with how much loot you were
Right.
getting.
right. And that's the problem is what is the point of making a game and having so many promises, not delivering out the gate, losing a significant amount of your player base, and then years later finally getting it fixed? I mean, look at No Man's Sky. That game was terrible when it first came out, and now it's actually a pretty cool space exploration survival game, but it took too long.
I think a
Speaking of
thing
No
in
Man's,
No
we
Man's
should
Sky
play No Man's
favor
Sky.
though is that all of those updates and the stuff that really fixed the problems were free. Whereas
Which is
using like the
fine.
cyberpunk perspective that Justin brought up, like the 2.0 or whatever it was for cyberpunk is amazing and I have no issues with the game anymore. But that update is only available to next
Next
gen
gen.
who own Phantom Liberty.
No, you got 2.0 if you had a next gen.
Okay, it's only the next gen thing.
It was only next gen because Ben bought Phantom Liberty, but Ben didn't have access to 2.0.
Oh, okay. My
Which-
misunderstanding,
which-
my bad.
You're good.
That's a bummer, yes, because you have to pay for the next gen version or a next gen console as a whole. But the problem still persists in both regards. Whether the updates were free or you had to pay for something, the fact that you had to wait to play a game you were promised from the get go is the problem. I don't want to have a release date for a game, but then actually enjoy the game 2 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that we've had a sufficiently chaotic episode.
This one sucked.
Give us more heads up next time. Damn.
Okay, I'm a wrap this up. I'm Justin. The other two are these fuckheads. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
GTA 6 is gonna suck.
Damn, we really got Snoop Dogg in Fortnite before GTA 6. That's all. Damn.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.